Hey guys, it's Phil. Welcome back to 3D Japan. Today I printed this cool head model and it looks fantastic, but in order to print it and keep all this great detail, we need to manually add supports. In this video I'll show you how to add supports in the most efficient way I can to get the great print with minimal or no damage. So let's get right into it. Here we are in ChiTuBox and I've loaded up the model. This is a Mumakil, I think that's how it's pronounced, or an Oliphant. You may have recognized him from the Lord of the Rings movies or books. So I just loaded it up, didn't touch it at all. So the first thing we will want to do is hollow him out. So come up here and hollow. Using a 2.10 millimeter wall. And there we go. Okay, that's done. And then this is actually gonna fit like an action figure onto a shoulders or a torso. So we're gonna have to make some holes for the liquid resin to drain out. And the best place would be in here so that we can't see them while he's attached. So dig hole. So I'm going to do, say, 4 millimeters. Let's add hole. And I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Okay, back up here, add hole. I'll put one right there. See, that's a little funky. Let's undo that. Let's scroll this down here, slide this down until we can see where is a good spot. Okay. So let's add a hole. Let's see how long that is? Really don't need it to be that long. Oops, I'm going up. I'm going to go down. Okay, 4. That's much better. So our hole there, and that works well. And it's always best to have 2 holes so that air can go in one and liquid out the other. So add hole, another one there. There we go. Alright, and now we're ready to position the model. Now we'll rotate him, because as it is right now, you can see this is taking up almost the entire build area, which means it's going to be a very long process to print this. It's going to take forever. So what you would normally do is take this, rotate him, and your first thought might be to rotate him, make him as flat as possible. So probably like this is how you would think to do it. But if you do this, you're going to end up with supports all along underneath his trunk here. And those are possibly going to damage all this nice detail when you take it off, along with under his trunks here, his tusks here. So, and there's another reason for this too. Let's bring this down and let's look at it right around here. Now this is a large area. It's a big circle that's going to create a lot of suction when you're when the build plate is pulling off of the HitFilm on the bottom of the printer. So we don't really want that. You want to keep this circle kind of as small as possible. So let's rotate. We'll try to go up a little bit. Let's bring this up so we can see. Oops. So try something like that. Let's bring this down again. And yeah, that's actually quite big. But, you know, you got to compromise somewhere because pretty much any other angle is going to cause a lot of supports. Try maybe like that. Okay, this is pretty good. This is a fairly small kind of circle area that's going to create not as much suction. Yeah. And then of course the trunk is very small. The tusks. So that's a good position for him. It's kind of a good compromise. It's not taking up the entire build area. Let's see. But we're going to have very few supports on the trunk, and it's going to take longer, but you know, again, you got to make a compromise somewhere. Okay, so let's move over to our supports tab. And the first thing we want to do, flip it over and we can see the red areas are areas that ChiTuBox thinks needs to be supported. So, first thing we're going to do is we need to have some heavy supports to cover the main connection area, the first spot where it's going to connect. Let's bring this all the way down and look at it from up here. And we can see right where it's going to first connect is right here, these little islands. If there's no support on there, that's just going to be floating in midair, and it will have nothing to hold it up. So let's switch to our heavy supports. And by the way, all of these settings are from the YouTuber 3D Printing Pro. I'll put a link to his video in the description. And you can check those out, or you can just copy them off of here. I'd like to support my fellow YouTubers. So, we can either just use this to put it on there, or you can see this black line. When it shows that line, that's a circle there, and it gets smaller and smaller. Zoom in. And what you want to do is put your support on the smallest possible point, like right there. And then of course you put one on the other side. Since this model is basically symmetrical, for the sake of the video, I'll only do half of it. Okay, and so what I normally do is I start off with that little island there, and then I'll expand out a little bit more. I can see these other areas really need it, so I'll put some supports in there, probably one here too. Okay, then we'll pull this out a little bit more, and I'm going to add a few more. And I'm scrolling up and down here just to make sure I don't have any of those little islands. Okay, so I'm going to add one. Say I'll add one here. And that's probably enough for that ear. I notice when you look at it from directly underneath, these little platform things disappear, so it's a lot easier to see. So let's pull this up, and here's another island appearing in the middle. So I want to add some heavy supports right in there. Okay. Expand it out a little bit more. And we'll put a few more around here. And I'm going to add one more in here. And at this point, I think I'm going to switch to the medium supports. Okay, so now we're still kind of working on the easy part here. Let's bring this up some more. And I'm going to put another medium support, or a couple of medium supports around here where the red is fading out. And you want to be sparse with these, so you have as few possible connection points as you can, because they could create some damage when you're removing them. Okay, let's pull this up, and you can see some more red spots up here. I'll add a few mediums. I'm trying to avoid all this really nice detail that the artist added. Now, I did not sculpt this myself. It was sent to me by a client. Okay, let's put a couple in here. I do like how it automatically puts this interlacing between ones that are near each other. Okay, now here we can see there's another island up there, and it's so small that it just kind of pops in. If you want to scroll this slider with more detail, you can use the up and down arrows on your keyboard. And so I can see right there is where these start to come in. Now these are kind of two islands, or like two circles, but they're so close together I can probably just add one. Okay, and go up some more. And I can probably add one in here too. Alright, let's go up further. And it looks like I'm going to need one around here. I can show you some of this, but a lot of it is just practice of kind of knowing where to put them. Trial and error. Some models, I think I have it all set up perfectly, and then I print it and the one area is messed up, and then I look at my ChiTuBox here and I see that there were no supports in that area. So we're going to keep scrolling up, and you can see I've got this big red spot in here, and I think I'm going to put a heavy one in there because that seems like an important spot. And then I'll put one over here too. We'll switch back to medium. And let's see, maybe throw one in here. And so here is where we're getting tricky, is that there is the inside of his mouth here. And he's gonna need supports up here, but you want to kind of avoid having supports go into other parts of the mesh. So let's see what happens if I put a medium right up in there on that circle. Now, do we see that? It just shot right through his tongue, and that's going to be really difficult to cut that off and not leave a mark. So let's undo. So what we can try to do is put one over here. Nope, still going through. Put one up here. Nope. Well, you could do that, and we get this little tripod down here, which will leave minimal damage. But I'd rather not have any damage at all, so try putting one up here. Nope. All the way out here. So now we have this button over here. This tool will allow you to edit the support. So I can click that, and I can drag it closer. Now, let's click the top part, and I'll drag that down here and click the little ball lower that. And now I can click the main support shaft and drag it over here. See, so now I can support that area without having it touch the model at all. In fact, it's kind of a little bit close to the model, so I'm going to pull it back a little bit. And that's pretty good. Maybe I'll spread it out a little bit. Yeah. Yeah, so of course you would just do the same thing on the other side too. It would be nice if there was a button to make all the supports symmetrical, just mirror them over there. Maybe that's something for a future release of ChiTuBox. So we'll switch back to our Add Support button. And we'll come back down here and we can look for other spots that need it, such as up here. Let's put one in there. And see, here again we've got this problem. So we can try adding one up there and then adjusting it. Part of the problem is that ChiTuBox often won't let you add them anywhere that's not red. So I'm just going to drag it down. And then I'm going to look at it all around and make sure that it's not too close. Make sure this shaft is not too close to the model. See, down here it's pretty close. Let's pull it out a little bit. And that looks pretty good. Let's look for any other islands or anything. Places that really need it. Could probably add some up here. Switch back to Add Support. Nope, got our same problem here again. Okay, so let's add or support, say, try to get it maybe on the side here. There we go. And now we can edit and grab the tip, pull it down, grab that sphere, pull that down a bit, and look all around, make sure that it's not too close. That looks good. And I'm going to add some on these tusks over here. So make sure I'm on Add Support. Click. See, those are really close together, which makes them a little bit difficult to cut when you're snipping them off. Let's just separate them a little bit. And go back to Add. And I want to make sure the tip of this is supported as much as it needs to be. Okay. Zoom in a little bit. And bring that up there. Looks pretty good. Yeah. Let's add one more up here. Make sure I'm on Add. There we go again with our little problem, our little tripod problem. Let's add on the side, and then edit. Let's zoom in. There we go, bring that down. Edit the tip. we go. Maybe a little bit over here. Okay. Now, as I'm looking here, I think this. Oops, go back to add. For some reason, when you're on the edit mode, you can't pan with the mouse. So you have to switch back to add, then you can pan. So anyway, as I was saying, I'm looking at this, and I think I need to add a few more around this inner circle. So let's bring these up, hide them a little bit. No, I don't need to. But anyway, I'll just put a couple around this outer kind of perimeter. I think that's really going to help that inner circle there. So again, go back up to the top. And looks like we don't really need to do a whole lot here. This will all support itself. And keep going up. And here now we have another issue where we have an island floating. So let's add a support there and see what happens. That's pretty good. I want to drag it out a little bit away from the model. Oh, let's pan over a little bit, rotate so I can see what I'm doing, and go back to edit. That's a little better. Okay, come back up. And see, we might want to add a little bit on here, just give it a little bit more help. So there we have a problem. So let's try adding it more on the side. No, try way over here, and then I'll edit and drag it over. Now, see, this could be tricky, trying to work the scaffolding part around that tusk and around his ear. Okay, this is not too bad. Let's pan, try to look around that tusk, make sure it's not getting too close or too close around the ear. That looks pretty good. So this is quite a sharp angle. That itself would need a support. So let's click that ball, bring that down, and yeah, see, now we've got this structure here that's just poking out, and they don't really let you edit those. So where are we going to put this? You could just leave it like that and hope that it's okay, but it's actually not even under the tusk where it's supposed to be. Oops, I just added one that I didn't want. I'm going to edit, and I'm going to bring it down under here. Let's see, is there any other way I can arrange that? It's really tough to see from up there. And it's maybe bring it around the other side of the ear. Oops. No, that's going to be a problem. We'll just try to leave it like that and hope that it's enough. Maybe move it a little bit closer to the ear. I don't want it to be too close, because even if it's not touching but is too close, the resin will still be wet in there and still get affected, and you'll end up with the support getting attached to the model here, and you definitely don't want that. It's a lot harder to remove. So let's just move on and hope that works out. Right, scrolling up. Let's take a look. It's just about the end here. Zoom out a little bit. And yeah, that looks pretty good. I want to add a little bit more on the tusk. In fact, at this point, I could probably switch to light supports. I really don't think that's going to work. Here, hold on. Let me pull this down. Oops. Let down, and so yeah, this is. It's just kind of gonna sit there, and it will probably just hang in midair. But this should work like that. So let's add another support on here. We'll do light, and here I see these two circles kind of merging right there. I think that seems like a good spot. Okay, yeah, that seems good. It's not touching anything, not too close. Let's put another one over here. That's pretty good. Okay. Let's add another couple of light ones. Just in here, maybe. Yeah. In fact, you know what? I'm going to make that a medium, because this is a pretty heavy part of the model. Another one somewhere in here. Just want to make sure this area is getting all the support it needs. In fact, let's put one on either side. And we're going to have to add supports. Oh, I already did that on this side. Yeah. So then, like I said, you would mirror all of these, do the same thing you did here on this side. And I think that should do it. Maybe this is kind of overhanging, but it's not a full 45 degrees, so it's probably okay. Same thing with this, it's kind of going up, so it's probably alright. Yeah. I'd be afraid to try to put one in there, because when it comes down it's going to go straight into that ear, and it's just going to be a lot more work. What I could maybe do is put one in here, and I'll try to do is put one somewhere else and then edit it if I can. That's a real stretch. I don't think that's going to work. Let's just undo that. Okay, it'll probably be fine. Yeah, so that's it. That should have our model fully supported and ready to print. So when we come back here, we can slice. And it'll take a few moments. There we go. And we can see how all our slices look and all the dots for the supports. Yep. And all our supports along the bottom, and then our platforms. Okay, then you're just ready to save it and throw it in the printer. So there we go. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something. Please be sure to like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.